thousands of government workers were dismissed by the Loyalty Review Board for dubious loyalty. And following Soviet detonation of an atomic bomb, Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were executed for conspiring with the Soviets. McCarthyism in action. Playing on heightened American fears, Senator Joseph McCarthy engaged in a tireless pursuit of communist conspirators. He received great support among the American populace because he offered a simple solution to a complicated problem of the Cold War. McCarthy directed his accusations everywhere, from the State Department to the U.S. Army, and would-be critics, fearful of arousing suspicion, remained quiet. The Republicans in power. Promising to clean up corruption and to bring the Korean War to an honorable end, Republican Dwight Eisenhower won election as president in 1952. In 1953, Eisenhower succeeded in reaching an arrangement with the North Koreans for an armistice. McCarthy eventually overreached himself when he accused the upper echelons of the army of communist ties, leading to his public humiliation and censure following Senate hearing in 1954. Eisenhower wages the Cold War. Together with Secretary of State John Foster Dulles, President Eisenhower tried to bring the Cold War under control. In particular, Eisenhower was motivated by outrageous defense expenditures and the sober realization of the destructive possibility of nuclear warfare. Entanglement in Indochina. Having provided aid to the French in the maintenance of their colony in Indochina against communist guerrillas led by Ho Chi Minh since 1950, Eisenhower refused to provide increased American assistance in 1954, when the French were on the brink of defeat. Following an international conference dividing Vietnam at the 17th parallel with the provision for a general election by 1956, the United States gradually took over from the French support of the anti-communist government of Diem in Saigon. Containing China. While Senate Republicans blamed Truman's Democratic administration for the loss of China, Eisenhower signed a security treaty with Chiang Kai-shek's government in Formosa and hinted at the use of nuclear retaliation to forestall Chinese attacks. Eisenhower's policies were aimed at driving a wedge between the Russians and the Chinese by convincing the Chinese that the Soviet Union could not protect them from the United States and they should overstep their boundaries, Turmoil in the Middle East. When Egyptian leader Nasser seized control of the Suez Canal in 1956, England and France retaliated with an invasion of Egypt. Both the United States and the Soviet Union supported a UN resolution calling for their withdrawal, establishing the United States as the main Western influence in the region and setting up yet another Cold War background with the Soviets. In 1958, the United States intervened temporarily in Lebanon to secure establishment of a stable government there. Covert actions. During the 1950s, the United States used the CIA to work behind the scenes on many fronts. To place the Shah of Iran in control of that country, to overthrow a leftist regime in Guatemala, and to oppose the Castro regime in Cuba. The corrupting belief that the ends justifying the means would later come back and haunt the United States. Waging peace. Eisenhower's repeated efforts to end the nuclear arms race failed although a temporary suspension of testing did occur for the remainder of his presidency. The Soviet launching of the Sputnik, however, contributed to an intensification of Americans' fear In 1960, Nikita Khrushchev, Stalin's successor, agreed to a summit conference with Eisenhower, but later refused to attend after an American spy plane was shot down over Soviet territory. Disappointed with the breakup of the Paris summit, Eisenhower made one last attempt to moderate the Cold War when he warned Americans of an unwarranted influence of a growing military-industrial complex.